Richard Dickson's here. He won a national championship. How would you feel if in 110 years after you're dead and you're looking down from heaven, some athletic director at a chump school says, no, my school won the 2007 national championship?
Kind of BS and don't make any sense. And
yeah,
like if we're going to go off like power rankings index, I feel like they should run type of index to where the amount of times we threw the ball when I played versus the amount of times they throw the ball now. I think I need 5 more touchdowns and 50 more receptions. That'd be pretty good.
Richard Dickson, College Football Hall of Famer. Hang the banner.
I'll take it.
Hey, okay. I mean, would you have? I just yelled for a long time about the Auburn thing, and it's not even about the Auburn. It's not necessarily them because they're stupid for doing this, but it's more just the whole premise of what college football's postseason has been its entire existence. I mean, I love the idea of an expanded playoff, Rich, because sports is a meritocracy.
No doubt.
And
I mean, it was a pageant show for the longest time. The biggest names with the most recognition. You know, that's what got you into the BCS a long time ago. I mean, I still think if you want to give Auburn any credit, was it when I was 2005, 2004 when they went undefeated in the SEC and didn't make it?
Yeah.
That was BS.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I brought up. I mean, it's like, and people say, well, it was USC and Oklahoma were 1-2 at the beginning of the season, and that's exactly the problem. So you could win every game. You can win every game, and you don't even get a chance to play for it. Like, it's such a farce. Anyway, thank God we're beyond that. If we go to a 64-team playoff, that might be excessive, but I'd be like, give me that. Give me that over 100 years from now, some loser AD claiming something that didn't actually exist.
Wait till you lose.
Well, this LSU team, Rich, I think is going to have a great opportunity, man. They're super talented. I know Brian Kelly talked today and talked about the ongoing shuffle on the offensive line. Where do you rate that as far as cause for concern? 11 days from the opener, still not having a set starting 5?
Everything I've heard, when everybody's talking about, was it the Kern that's moved to right tackle earlier this week, got some first-team reps. Everybody I've talked to, everything I've heard from the coaches, every interview that I've heard was they were pretty solid at the tackles. What I take that is you got to know who your next guy up is. You got to figure out who your third guy is, who can be the swing tackle, who can get in there. And this time of the year, I mean, you got to get reps with the guys you're going to play at. I don't care if you got your first team playing, taking all your first team reps, second team. You got to mix those guys in because at one point, somebody on that second team is going to be playing with the first team, and it's all about continuity.
So you're good with them continuing to rotate at this point?
At this point, you got to figure out. I mean, I take it as, and look, I'm not at practice every day. I'm not watching the film, but everything I've heard the coaches talk about these offensive linemen is, they're very impressed with what they're doing. They're happy with the progress, and I don't care who it is. When you're putting a freshman in who's getting as much talk as Kern is, that's, to me, is a good problem. I think competition builds the strongest teams.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to welcome Our Lady of the Lake to AFR LSU. As the championship health partner of LSU athletics, the physicians at Our Lady of the Lake serve the champions on the field in the purple and gold, but that same level of care is available to you and your family. I've been a proud supporter of Our Lady of the Lake my entire life, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom as a high schooler to helping so many of the fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital, to my own son being a patient now at that very Children's Hospital, and my primary care physician, Dr. Kurt Chastain, at Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Our Lady of the Lake has been a part of my medical journey my entire life, and you can learn more as well. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. Richard Dickson is with us. So, obviously, Rich, on the offensive side, when you start with a senior in Nussmeier, it feels like that would alleviate a lot of whatever transition or growing pains there might be on the interior. How much do you think Nuss can maybe, I don't know if I'm phrasing this right, but cover for whatever deficiencies may happen while they're trying to figure out their best 5 playing together?
I think it's big. I mean, I can give you a reverse example with a senior center and a freshman quarterback, whereas when Brett Helms, after 07 and 08, when Jarrett Lee got there, Jarrett still needed help on that. but you had that senior leadership coming from your center position who was making all the calls, correcting him. He had the override authority when they were sliding the protections and calling out the mics. Right now, Nussmeier is going to have that overriding authority. They're not going to look to the center or whoever to make the calls. Nuss is going to make the final decision. And as long as you have one guy that is making the final call and making the decision on which way everybody's going, I think is a positive.
Former Tiger tight end Richard Dickson is with us here on the show. Talk about your position a little bit, man. They got three guys there that they like a lot with Trey'Dez, Bauer Sharp, and Donovan Green. How do you think they, with obviously Mason Taylor, the most decorated receiving tight end in the history of the program, how do they start to make up for that without like maybe one guy that can do everything he did?
Well, I think you got two guys in Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green. Look, Bauer Sharp is your veteran of the group. He's a guy that's played in 37 college games. He had 22 starts, 80 career receptions and 6 touchdowns. He's a guy that's been around. Trey'Dez is a guy that's just a freak show that, he has the ability out there to where he can make a mistake and overcome with his size and speed. So you got two guys right there that I feel very confident in receiving the ball. My biggest question for me is, Mason Taylor was, I always said, a B- blocker. He was never going to be just the guy that you're going to run behind all the time. But who's going to step up and be that guy when we're talking about having a better run game and improving in the run game and having one of those guys? Donovan Green is a little bit the bigger size guy, but Bauer Sharp is, to me, from everything I'm hearing in the size, he's a 6'5", 245 pounds. He's a guy that I think that can do it all.
How important is it for this offense, for the tight end, to be as impactful as Taylor was?
That's a great question because all you hear anybody talking about is the plethora of receivers they have. You want to have a guy that can get in there and be the check down guy, the safety blanket for a quarterback, but Nuss doesn't need necessarily a safety blanket. He's got a bunch of receivers he can go after and trust where they're going to be. But, it's also another wrinkle. Look, it's harder to cover 4 than it is to cover 3.
Wait, go a little deeper there. What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, like, the focus, you got to have a receiving threat at tight end. He can have the 3 best wide receivers out there, and you can go, your 2 corners, a safety, nickel, whatever, you're going to slide that way. But somewhere you need a weak link is going to cover the tight end. So if you have a guy like a Bauer Sharp or a Trey'Dez Green, a guy that, Trey'Dez Green to me is going to take focus off a receiver. He's 6'7". He's a guy that runs like a wide receiver. I think he plays like a wide receiver a lot of the time. He's going to develop where 2 people are going to have an eye on him. He's going to open up for a wide receiver. So when I say it's better to have, 4 covering 3, they're going to have to shade somebody somewhere. And with all the receivers they have, you put a Trey'Dez or a Bauer Sharp in, they're going to have to not leave their least, the worst pass coverage guy on a tight end.
And I know you and Charles do the Handycast each week. And for those who don't know it, go to YouTube, subscribe to the Handycast. Charles Handegriff and Richard Dickson do the Handycast every week, and they look at game film and X and O, the LSU game for that week. The rushing offense, the run game, Rich, is something that's got so much conversation because LSU was 107th in the country last year. It can't just be as simple as the offensive line wasn't good run blockers. I'm certain that was part of it, but we've talked about a lot of things, right? They threw it 60% of the time. They really didn't have a true deep threat. Caden Durham was injured. There's a lot of things therein. What do you think is the most important thing as LSU starts a new season to be able to be more impactful in the running game?
It's just consistency, getting out there and doing it. And, I heard you and Cole Kubelik's conversation the other day, and I thought it was very, a great take on it.
Okay.
And when you're not asked to do something a lot, you're not going to be great at it. But also, where you were talking about when you went back to Jaden's first 2 years, I think the numbers are a little bit skewed when you go to the run game because every scramble counts as a run. And Jaden's best runs were scrambles a lot of the time. That run game looks a lot different when you're adding an 80-yard scrambles for a touchdown. Jaden made up a lot. I don't think that group was ever really great at run block, but they've also been elite pass blockers. And when you had a running quarterback like Jaden who could take a scramble and turn it into 80 yards, 40 yards, 15 yards, and a first down, those numbers look a lot better. But last year, I think, the complaint we had a lot was there was times where Nuss needed to run the ball. He had to run the ball, and he didn't. And it put the offensive line at a disadvantage.
Richard Dickson's with us, former Tiger tight end. You'll be on with Handy again for Eagle 98.1 Game Day postgame this year?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to that. Is there something on the defensive side that you're interested or most excited to see a week from Saturday?
Man, I'm ready to see them Week boys run. The Whit Weeks, to me, has been one of the most fun guys to watch. He's a guy that, to me, had a very similar, oncoming, not as explosive as Harold Perkins, but he plays the same way. He's fast. He goes after people. He's aggressive. Having those guys and Harold Perkins back, I think Gabe Relaford on the end. You got the D tackles. I was really high on Bro last year. And I think that this is, I'm saying this because I'm very hopeful. I can't take another year of the last 3 years of defense we've had, and I'm just looking for these guys to go out there and bust some heads.
Rich, they asked us at LouisianaSports.net to do a bold prediction. And for me, my bold prediction was that LSU will finish in the top 20 nationally in total defense for the first time since 2017. You realize that's the last time they were top 20 nationally? It was 2017.
No. And, I grew up being an LSU guy. The defense ran everything. We just had to score enough points.
Yeah. I don't know that it's going to look like that. And look, in 2007, y'all were a really fun offense to watch with Croton. I mean, that thing was pretty wide open that year. But the talent upgrade, Rich, and I mean, I don't get to see every minute, but they give us a lot of access. And I've been going out there long enough to know, like, what it's supposed to look like and what it has looked like. And this is kind of what it's supposed to look like,
Well, you finally got some, the two young D tackles we had last year, the two freshmen, those are the defensive tackles I'm used to playing with. Those are the guys that we're used to seeing at LSU. And when you have freshmen making an impact at a position, you're not supposed to make an impact as a true freshman. That gave me all the hope I wanted for the years coming. Gabe Relaford is another guy that they're finally starting to get guys recruited and playing on this defense that look like a traditional LSU defense.
Yeah. They have a big task coming up a week from Saturday over in Clemson, South Carolina. You going to do you and Handy going to do a preview of LSU and Clemson?
Yeah, I think we're going to start next Friday is when we're going to start doing the football stuff, start for week 0. We're going to do a show, of course, without film prior to the Clemson game, and we're going to break down some stuff. Dude, this is a big game just from the standpoint of I can't take anybody else telling me that we've lost the first game for 6 years in a row. That's not how you want to get started. Now, this might be the hardest first game of the year in that 5-year stretch, but it's a big one. And look, Brian Kelly, they've all made a big deal about it. I hope they've not made too big of a deal about it. But this is something that's, it's going to set the tone for the season.
Do you like that they made a big deal out of it?
I'm not used to that. We're used to the next game's the next game, and not making such a big deal of it. I get where he's coming from. This is 5 years in a row of just losing the first game and everybody's freaking chest deflated week 1. But, I would say I'm not a big fan of making a big deal, but I understand it.
All right. Week from Saturday, we'll find out what the Tigers will have ahead of them and all the work they've done this offseason. Richard Dickson, you'll hear him on Eagle 98.1 Game Day postgame with Handy 90 minutes after every game this year on Eagle 98.1. Of course, the Handycast. Make sure you get over and subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done so yet. Always appreciate the visit, man. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.